Because every day above ground is a good day. Some are just more questionable than others. It's the Friday edition, and we got 8 on the board, and we get rolling immediately. Charles Barkley on the NBA on TNT admitting that he does not mind eating what? Take a look.
Because the New Yorkers, y'all deserve it. Because y'all think y'all the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Tell them, Chuck.
Come on, y'all ain't that good in New York.
What else, Chuck?
Come on, man. Y'all overrated.
What else, Chuck?
It's because y'all make good pizza and good bagels.
And what else, Chuck?
And what else, Prime?
And hold on, Chuck. Don't forget about the...
Oh, you know, they can't, I ain't gonna say anything bad about the street meat. You know, I love the street meat. I love the street meat.
The New York Knicks.
I don't care what kind of meat it is either. It tastes
Out
good.
to it. Even if you got no idea it is. What
Rat,
it is.
dog, cat, skunk, raccoon. It tastes good. Just put that white sauce on it. That's it. Right. That's it right there. That's some good stuff, y'all.
Oh, boy. NBA on TNT, Charles Barkley at it again. Question on the board. Question, New York street meat. Are you in or are you out? Barkley is talking about he doesn't care if it is dog or rat or cat or raccoon or skunk. Get out of here with that mess. Pizza, bagels, of course. I'm sorry. I love New York City. I will eat that 99-cent pizza on 40th at the intersection of 8th Avenue. I'll eat it in Times Square for $1 a slice. No street meat. Because that meat really is rats and random street animals. Hell out of here. Or as the young people say, F-O-H. Charles Barkley, keep your white sauce. I am out on the street meat. As we roll on in the countdown to number 7, presented by Celsius, Essential Energy Drinks, Live Fit. I just finished my can. It's in the recycling bin. Celsius, Essential Energy. We go to a very painful moment in baseball. This is a very quick clip. Do not look away. It is Arizona at Cincinnati, and even though the count is no balls and no strikes, you'll see why we're calling this 2 balls and 1 strike. Take a look at this.
Night. Oh, that got Adam Hammery, and he is down.
Oh.
Well, the picture told the story on that.
Yeah, the picture did tell the story, didn't it? I want you to take a quick listen here, though, closely, because there's 3 ways a crowd can react. There is the female crowd with the high-pitched, ah! There is the men and women together, ah! And then there is the men only, which is the, oh! How does the crowd sound in Cincinnati when this ball strikes the unintended region? Listen closely. One more time.
Oh. Boy, that got Adam Hammery, and
That
he
is a
is
low.
down.
That is a low crowd. You heard the crowd on the low, meaning the guys can relate, the women can't relate. Everyone thinks the other suffers the biggest pain. Women believe it's childbirth. Men believe it's a strike to the ding-ding. But you heard the crowd. It was the men who together were like, oh. And the question is on the board. Question, is this pure comedy or painful to watch? This is painful to watch. Anyone who has suffered a shot to the ding-ding into the region thereof, the twigs and berries knows no pain quite like it. You know that feeling where you can't breathe, and that feeling that you're going to puke, and that feeling that you wish you were dead because you got kicked or punched or hit. There is no sensation in the universe like what this man just suffered. If you are laughing at this, you should probably turn yourself into the authorities because you are a sociopath. It's a little funny when you know the other guy's okay, but it ain't that funny knowing if you felt this. That's called empathy and compassion, that you don't want others to feel what you did. That is painful to watch. As we roll on in the countdown to number 6, this is shocking. This is disturbing. This is also hilarious. When you piece together what the hell is happening. Luka Doncic, following the Game 2 win Thursday night at OKC, he's in the press conference. He begins to talk. Listen closely to what you hear in the background as Luka is talking to the media.
Just our sharing the ball and our energy was great.
What do you think? Okay.
Look at his face.
Okay, moving on.
He's so confused. He's rattled.
I hope that's not live.
Yeah, we hope it's not live either. Question on the board. What actually was that sound? Come on, man. It was someone watching women's tennis. Someone streaming live women's tennis. Maybe it was Discovery Channel. Maybe it was something about the miracle of birth. I'm not sure. Y'all know what this was. It sounded pretty clear what it likely probably was. The question is, how do we get there? Well, what actually was the sound was probably a media member who opened up a window, a tab on their computer, who accidentally clicked something. And by the way, who's listening with volume that loud? Like, what kind of a weirdo has the volume that loud on content like that? How humiliating. Whoever you are, everyone in the media room knows exactly who you are, and you live in infamy now for being that dude. And I'm going to say dude because women are smarter than that. They wouldn't make that same mistake. We continue on into number 5 on the countdown, and it comes to us courtesy of Mad Dog Chris Russo. We know he struggles with words. We know he struggles with names. We know he struggles with pronunciations. Take a listen to what he said about the, sport of jiu-jitsu. Take a look.
Let's figure out a way. How does Tom Brady, the magnificent, good-looking quarterback, how did he lose his beautiful wife to a jiu-jitsu instructor? How you pronounce it? What's the word? I don't even know. What is it?
What? Jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu instructor. I mean, that's the whole theme of the night. That she's going out with the jiu-jitsu instructor. And poor Tom, all by his lonesome.
Chris Russo, courtesy of SiriusXM Radio. Mad Dog doing what he does. Question, Mad Dog mispronunciations. Tremendous. Or is he getting tired? Half of this man's appeal is the relatability. Everybody knows somebody like him that talks too fast, that screams too much, that messes up names and says words wrong. Half of his appeal, I believe, is doing things like this. He is memorable for this reason. The man is a genius, a comedic genius, accidental, oftentimes comedic genius, but nonetheless. Boy, he had a tough time with jiu-jitsu, which, by the way, isn't that difficult to say. And then after he was told how to say it, you'll notice he never gets it right the second time, even though he did say jitsu. We continue on in the countdown all the way up to number 4, presented by Bud's Chicken and Seafood. Crispy, crunchy, juicy, golden brown fried perfection. Get some Bud's Chicken and Seafood this weekend and put it in your mouth. Go to budschicken.com. This comes to us from the feud of the week in sports media. James Jones, Austin Rivers. James Jones was on TV talking about the Austin Rivers appearance on Pat McAfee's show. We already know what he said. He said you could take 30 dudes from the NBA, put them in the NFL, easy, no problem. Couldn't do it with NFL players, not able to do it, make the transition to the NBA. Well, take a look at the tweet that Austin Rivers put out on the comments James Jones had to say. Been just sitting back listening to the chatter, but I can't help myself sometimes, LOL. James Jones, the Packer guy, I've never heard of you. But listen here, you little meathead. Fall back, LOL. Talking about, quote, you barely made it in the NBA. Bro, I was lottery pick who was already played 11 years. You played 8-9 seasons in the NFL. Make it make sense. By your own logic, you really barely made it. You sound salty. Beat it. End of tweet. Well, then James Jones had his say. And he went on his show on FS1, and he spoke at Austin Rivers about his career, about Austin Rivers' career, and about knowing who the bleep he is. Take a look.
All right, I see 11 seasons, 7 different teams, top 10 pick. I see averaging 9 points a game over your career, 2 rebounds, 2 assists over your career, top 10 pick. You know what that sound like to me? In the streets, we call you a bust, homie. That's what that sound like. Now, if my daddy played in the NBA and I was coming out of the draft, I'd probably be a top 10 pick too, homeboy. But once I get into the league, I'd have handled my business. Now, I led the league in touchdowns. I won a Super Bowl in the highest league. You did none of that. You don't got no all-stars. You got no nothing. Well, you're not going to have that because you got 9 points, 2 assists, 2 steals in the game, 65% free throws. So I ain't even going to keep on going back and forth with you. All I'm going to say is you 6'4", 200, maybe you should have tried football. You might have had a better career, homeboy. Because basketball was not your career with what I'm reading right here.
Wow. Look at the reaction in studio, by the way. Question on the board. How should Rivers respond now? Very simple. He shouldn't at all. He got burned. He got finished. He needs not say another word and make this worse. It went from a bad guest appearance on the Pat McAfee show by saying something he thought was funny, cute, and clever, to then doubling down, to then tripling down, to then getting pantsed in front of the world, to this beatdown right here. There is no response required. If you are in middle school and something like this happens to you, you have to transfer schools. You understand what I'm saying? If you're in college and something like this happens to you, you hit the transfer portal. You got to dip on this. There's no response required. This is over. As we roll on to number 3, we are far from over. Number 3 on the countdown, presented by Twin Peaks, your UFC fight headquarters. Eats, drinks, scenic views, 29-degree beers. It is, of course, Twin Peaks. And this comes to us from Panthers coach Paul Maurice, who enjoyed the Pasternak Kachuk fisticuffs from game 2 earlier this week. Take a look at this clip of the fight and what coach had to say about guys fighting in the middle of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
It gets a little spicy out there and they want to go.
Pasternak's fighting Kachuk.
Look at this.
Pasternak, it came over the top.
I think it was awesome.
That was awesome.
When it was over, they both looked like they were fine.
And a rat sitting right in the middle of the pile. Then a fan threw onto the ice.
Sorry, whoever's offended by that concept, I don't care. I thought it was awesome.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Kaboom. Video courtesy of Hard Rock Bet. You got to love a coach who says, hey, man, I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. Question, however, and it's on the board. Fighting in the playoffs, good or bad for the NHL? Fighting in hockey is part of the game, okay? That's why we're not shocked and outraged and calling for suspensions. Fighting in the playoffs, not supposed to happen because of how important those possessions are, how important goals are in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So while it's not supposed to happen, we're seeing more of it this season. There are more guys and teams getting into it. And at times, in a 5-1 game, go ahead, help yourself. In a 1-1 game, in an 0-1 game, in a 3-1 game, shouldn't be fighting. Is it good or bad for the NHL? Well, purists are going to say, we don't fight in the postseason. Well, now we do. Life has changed. Society's changed. Backing down has changed. On social media, guys don't do it. That's how Austin Rivers got in trouble. So it's not going to happen on the ice either. This is actually good for the NHL because it's getting exposure. And what do people love? A fight. Whether it's happening in middle school or in the street, people stop and watch. It's human curiosity. Fighting is good for attention as long as nobody gets really hurt. And you heard the coach say, they both seem fine to me. What's fascinating is both asked their coaches, like, is it cool if I go? I want to go. So Maurice was like, hell yeah, you can. Kachuk's a tough guy. Pasternak isn't necessarily, although he proved himself to be a worthy opponent, even though he got the bowl knocked off his pasta and the salad was flying. This is actually good for the NHL. The countdown rolls on to number 2, and it comes to us from UVA. This is a moment of a photo bomb. Watch close. In the upper left-hand corner, he's not being interviewed, but he decides he's going to pretend he doesn't know he's on camera. He's going to do a little photo bomb action. Take a look.
Joe, how much of a luxury is it to pitch behind guys that are swinging it this well?
Yeah, it's definitely a luxury. I mean, when you have an offense like ours and the work.
The best part is when you pretend that you don't know you're in the shot. He never looks at the camera. If you look at the camera, it ruins it. Instead, he looks to the side like, wait, what? Am I on the way? Take a look one more time.
Joe, how much of a luxury is it to pitch behind guys that are swinging it this well?
Yeah, it's definitely a luxury. I mean, when you have an offense like ours and the work.
Classic. All-time classic. Question on the board. Is it comedy classic or is it common cringy? I knew a kid back in college, fraternity brother of mine, Kevin Maroney. He would take a mouthful of beer and he would ask you to introduce him to a girl. And as soon as you did, as he said, nice to meet you, or hi, I'm Kevin, he would spill the beer all out over his mouth, over his shirt. He would do this 6-7 times a party. Always hilarious. This is classic comedy. People with liquid spilling out, like a spit take, always funny. Spilling like this, always funny. Great photo bomb. I love it. This is not a drinking problem. It's a problem drinking. Maybe it's time to start drinking at number 2. As the countdown reaches the finish line of this episode, we're all the way to number 1, presented by St. Lucie Battery and Tire. 17 locations, South Florida, Everything from oil changes to tires and batteries. Go to slbt.com. Love this family-owned business, slbt.com. And this comes to us from Colin Cowherd. Some would say cow nerd. Maybe Colin Cow hater. Colin Cowherd talking about LeBron James sitting with J.J. Redick. Doesn't like J.J. Redick with the hat on backwards. Take a look at what he had to say.
For sure. Don't love the backward hat for J.J. Redick.
You're going to open with that. Redick's got an interesting look. Collared shirt, backwards hat, tatted up arms.
I didn't hear a word LeBron said. I couldn't stop staring at the hat. J.J. Redick's going for NBA head coaching jobs. He looks like a guy that's going to move my couch. Didn't like it. I would tell J.J. to his face. I'm like, dude, you're going to be an executive in this league. You're going to be a high-level executive or coach. Well, whatever. You guys can go ahead and push back on that stuff. I didn't like it. My opinion, my show. Our show. I don't like that look at all.
The body language is fascinating when he says, don't like it, I don't care, it's my show. And then he realizes, uh-oh. And then he said, it's our show. The body language of that moment, fascinating. Question on the board. Is this a case of relax, boomer, or that's a real problem? The head on backward thing, we know. Colin Cowherd, we know how you feel. We know your stance on this. You've let us know this for years and years and years. J.J. Redick is not in the interview with the hat on backwards, okay? He's on a podcast. It's called When in Rome, Make Like the Romans. He knows when to dress and present himself a certain way. I don't believe that his perception of understanding the game or evaluating players and talent and team concept is going to be viewed differently because he's on a podcast with his hat on backwards. He's not the three-piece suit guy 24/7, 365, nor should you be in this day and age. This is ridiculous. Relax, boomer. Take it easy, old man. Lots of people wear their hats backwards for times like this, and it's just fine. Everything's going to be okay, Colin, I assure you. And everything's going to be okay if you would subscribe. Do that right now and tell your friends as well to do the exact same. Remember, kids, while every day above ground is a good day, some are just more questionable than others. Say goodnight to the bad guy. We'll see you on Monday.